Welcome to that magic moment. Today I've got a special treat. So if you've watched my other normal show that I would put up on the weekend, I talked about how I was able to get a box of Jumpstart direct from Amazon. Unfortunately, my local gaming store was not getting any more in, at least at not any point that they're aware of. But Amazon had them go up, and they went up for $91, and I was able to grab one. And surprise, surprise, it came in early. This wasn't supposed to be in until April, but we're going to go ahead and give this an opening, take a look, see what we got out of it. I'm going to be cutting the package open in a way that I can put the cards back in. That's simply because I do intend to enjoy these with my friends as a random grab out of the box kind of thing here a little bit later on. Maybe even once I've gotten to sleeve them. But I wanted to go ahead and share this with you. This is going to be my first box opening, and we'll hopefully have another one of these here fairly soon, because I do have a box of the mystery booster box that's supposed to be coming in this weekend. So we'll look at either doing that this weekend or later on next week. We'll see how all that falls. But let's go ahead and jump in here and get this out. And just a reminder while I'm opening this up, make sure that if you enjoy my content, either here on Twitch, make sure you click that follow button, or if you watch this over on YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button. That's GRAY_Falcon for both of those, and you can always follow me on Twitter as The Gray Falcon. Alright, so this is punched open a little bit. That was actually my fault. When I initially got this, I accidentally pushed down on it while I was in the wrapper. So I know this wasn't tampered with. This was actually just me accidentally getting that pulled out like that. So this pulls right up. We've got ourselves our little mix and match maximum mayhem. Mix and match maximum mayhem. Let's jump in. Battle. So, just kind of see all that's going on with that one there. Let's go ahead and open this up. Got the packs there. And we're going to start with this one at a time. So we'll grab this far one out, and I'll set this box off over here to the side so we can get through and into here. So, I'm going to make sure there's plenty of room in there. Hopefully that's not freaking anyone out by me doing that. And lots of room up there. Go ahead and cut through here and see what we pull out of here. Oh, well, this is interesting. So I haven't opened any of these yet. I hadn't had the opportunity to actually make this purchase, and it turns out these are plastic sleeved, and I'm gonna have to tear that a little bit in order to get these out of here. But they're plastic wrapped inside as well, so I was not aware that they did that. And we have tree hugging as the theme for this one, so let's go ahead and peel this out and around and see what we got in here. So inside of tree hugging we have, alright, we've got ourselves Primordial Sage as the top card there. So go ahead and turn that there for you. Whenever you cast a creature spell, you may draw a card. So that's pretty awesome. That's one of those cards that I think people are chasing after. And then we have Burlfist Oak. Whenever you draw a card, Oak gets +2/+2 until end of turn. So landfall ability there. And then we have more tree folk. Warden. We've got Nature's Way. Target creature you control gains vigilance and trample until end of turn. It deals damage equal to its power to target creature you don't control. So that's nice. Plant Wall Defender. When Wall of Blossoms enters the battlefield, draw a card. And we have ourselves a Landlord Visionary, so you get to draw a card when this comes in and can tap for 1. A Snare Spinner Spider, pretty common things coming through here. Another tree folk for Ambassador Oak. When Ambassador Oak enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 green elf warrior creature. So, it's Crushing Canopy. Explore, that's a good one. I'll go ahead and spread these out throughout here so we can see all of these. So I'm going to turn them your way once they've come out. Go ahead and move that over there. Plant wall there. And there's our Landlord Visionary. What else? There's the spider. There's our ambassador. And I'm going to have to start stacking these on top of each other here in a moment. So don't be surprised when I start covering these things up. And then Crushing Canopy. And then we have the Explorer. We have a land. We have Thriving Grove. As Thriving Grove enters the battlefield, choose a color other than green. So this comes in tapped, and what it does is it allows you to have a 2-color card where you get green plus 1 of any other color. That's unique to Jumpstart, and the reason that they do that is because you mix 2 of these packs together, and then between those 2 packs, you get yourself whatever other color you get with this at all times. So you'll get a couple of those in each of these. I forgot to read that one. We have Wild Size. Target creature gets +2/+2, gains trample until end of turn, and you draw a card. And Gnarled Sage. Tree Folk reach as long as you've drawn 2 or more cards this turn. Gnarled Sage gets +0/+2 and has Vigilance. And then we can see that we have all the land cards. So that spreads out pretty well. We've got that there. Take a look at all of that, and I'm going to go ahead and pick these up, and we will work on getting the next one, assuming I don't accidentally damage anything. That's the key here. Let's not do anything to accidentally damage any of these, especially these rare cards, because the rare cards are apparently worth quite a bit in this set, so I'm excited about that. But mostly I'm just excited about an entire set built around the idea of me getting around to sit around with my friends, some of whom used to play Magic but don't really want to invest in it anymore, and just being able to pop 2 of these open at random at any time and then just play with my friends. Because yeah, I've got a few of them who are happy to play Magic. They'll come out, they'll do a draft with us when we buy a box, but they're not going to pay the money to actually purchase any of them because it's just not their thing. They've got other things to worry about. They're more of family and that kind of thing. So when you got young kids, you'll understand. Yeah, first priority has to be them. But this allows them to still come out and play and have fun without having to invest. And this is a repeatable experience for those friends. All right, so in the next pack, we have ourselves Legion, so white. So if we were to pull 2 of these, the person creating their first deck would have had white and green. Alright, and let's go ahead and slide this off and open. It is nice that they double protected these. It's a lot of extra trash, unfortunately, but it is nice that they have that protection built in. I probably should have slid that into this pack. Hold on. It's put there to protect that front rare from being damaged. Plus, it tells you what you got when you pulled it open. So now that we open Legion, we have Blessed Sanctuary. Enchantment. Prevent all non-combat damage that would be dealt to you and creatures you control. Whenever a non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, create a 2/2 white unicorn creature token. Oh, so that's kind of nice. And let's see what else we got in here. Selfless Savior. I am a big fan of Selfless Savior. I love this card. I went out and I bought it in foil, all because it makes me think of my boy and his dog and how much that dog loves him. So we've got that. Sacrifice Selfless Savior. Another target creature you control gains indestructible till end of turn. All right. We have Falconers Adept. Whenever Falconers Adept attacks, create a 1/1 white bird creature token with flying that doesn't flying that's tapped and attacking. Sorry. You don't exile it, so you just, for 4 mana, you get this 2/3, and whenever it attacks, you get yourself an extra one. Ooh, and there's a nice hit. Path to Exile. Exile target creature. Its controller may search their library for a basic land card, put that into the battlefield tapped, then shuffle your library. So that's a good card to have right there. Path to Exile pulled. Put a +1/1 counter on each creature you control. So Basari's Solidarity. So that's what we have there. Basari's Solidarity. Just put in a bunch of 1/1 counters on creatures. All right. And Valorous Steed. Valorous Steed? Valorous Steed. Let's read that one properly. We got ourselves a unicorn with Vigilance. When Valorous Steed enters the battlefield, create a 2/2 white knight creature token with Vigilance. Oh, that's nice. So it costs 5, but you get a 3/3 and a 2/2 out of it. So not a bad deal for the cost. It still seems a little expensive, but if you have things that are pumping them up, that's not the worst case scenario. And then we have Daybreak Charger Unicorn. When Daybreak Charger enters the battlefield, target creature gets +2/+0 until end of turn. We have Makeshift Battalion. Whenever Makeshift Battalion and at least 2 other creatures attack, put a +1/+1 counter on Makeshift Battalion. And then we have Inspired Charge. Each creature you control gets +2/+1 until end of turn. And we have Knight of the Tusk. A human knight vigilance for 3/7 that cost 5. That's pricey, but it's basically a wall that can deal a little bit of damage. I don't know. And then we have Legion's Judgment. Destroy target creature with power 4 or greater. And here we have our special land. This one's Thriving Health, and this one is the add white and then choose one of another color. So in this case, we would have a green-white and a white-green for the setup between the 2 of them that we chose. And then we have Raise the Alarm. Create 2 1/1 white soldier creature tokens. And then we have our just basic planes there all over again. So let's just set that there. And you can see the entire setup that came out of this one. All right, let's continue on and see what we get out of the next one. So, collect these safely once again. And this was the Legion pack, as we can see there, with our Path to Exile. Very excited about that. Path of Exile is a good card to have. It's $3 uncommon right there, thereabouts, and yeah, that's pretty much worth the pack alone, just from the Path of Exile. And then the Blessed Sanctuary, I'm sure that's worth a pretty penny. So I'll look up those prices probably later on, but right now I'm more interested in what did we get in these, what all are we pulling here. So I'm going to slide these right back into the sleeve. So play with my friends later on. I have the ability to mix these up, not know what they are, and we'll be able to go through another match on our own. All right, and then let's get into this next one. Nice clean cut up there. I'm gonna have to peel this open a little bit again, probably. Yep, that's all right. These are all going to get sleeved later on. This is more just for their protection until I can sit and sleeve all of these properly. Want to make sure I can slide them back in here. These might get sleeved when I actually go through and play with my friends. So, you know, we'll take note of that when we can. Dogs. Ooh, this is white again, and we have dogs. I didn't even know that that was a theme in this. All right, so that's exciting. I'm a fan of dogs. Got 2 of them myself. We'll probably get another one of our pups that's designed to sacrifice itself to give someone indestructible, which is sad, but it's a wonderful thing. Okay, and starting off with Pack Leader. Other dogs you control get +1/+1. Whenever Pack Leader attacks, prevent all combat damage that would be dealt this turn to dogs you control. Oh, I didn't know that was a card. I've looked through some of this before. As I said, I've not paid real close attention to it. It hasn't been super available. I knew it was something that I wanted, but yeah, that's really cool. And now we have ourselves another dog. It's just a 2/2 for 1, and Isamaru, Hound of Konda. So not a whole lot there, but you're getting a 2/2 for 1 mana, so I suppose it's really not bad. But as a legendary creature, that doesn't seem like the best legendary creature you could pull. Alpha Guardhound. Flash. When Alpha Guardhound enters the battlefield, target creature gets +0/+3 until end of turn. Alright, Flash. Dog, that's pretty good. Then we have Dauntless Onslaught. Up to 2 target creatures get +2/+2 until end of turn. And then we have Release the Dogs. Create 4 1/1 white dog creature tokens for 4 mana, 1 white and 3 generic, so not bad. Low powered. I'm not a huge fan of the things that create a bunch of little 1/1 tokens. I get that they have their place, but I'd much rather have something that generates tokens on a repeatable basis than something that is just going to give me 4 all at once, and unless things go your way, that you're going to have to do a whole lot in order to bump all that up. But here we go. Supply Runners. When Supply Runners enters the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on each other creature you control. So it's 2/2 dog, and you get to put a bunch of +1/+1 counters on things for 5. So I suppose if you have Release the Dogs, that's pretty good. But overall, I don't know. We'll find out as we keep going through here. But I feel like that's still expensive for what it is. Maybe in another deck, we'll see. Maybe I'm just being too critical. I don't know. All right, and then we have Secure the Scene. Exile target non-land permanent. Its controller creates a 1/1 white soldier creature token. So there we go with that one. Then we have Alpine Watchdog, which is a 2/2 vigilance for 2, which I'll be honest, because that's got vigilance, I think is better than the legendary one we got. Sure, it's 1 mana for a 2/2, but going to 2 mana for a 2/2 and getting vigilance just seems like a way better deal. And this one's common, where that one's a rare. So I don't know. I don't always know what constitutes that. Yeah, thanks. All right, so Cathar's Champion, creature dog. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, Cathar's Champion gains indestructible until end of turn. So that's awesome. You get a 3/1 for 3 and gets indestructible whenever you cast a creature. So I guess the indestructible is what makes that defense drop down so quickly, and as long as you're constantly getting creatures out, though, that works out for you. And then we have Rambunctious Mutt. Whenever Rambunctious Mutt enters the battlefield, destroy target artifact or enchantment an opponent controls. So I got a 3/4 for 5 there. This is a very expensive set. If you'll notice that over here we've got like a 1-drop and 2 2-drops, and then everything else goes 3, 4, and then we have a lot of 5 and 6. I don't know. I honestly think I would probably be disappointed in pulling this just because of how slow this is going to run you. But then we have Trusty Receiver. When Trusty Receiver enters the battlefield, choose 1. Put a +1/+1 counter on Trusty Receiver, or return target artifact or enchantment card from graveyard to hand. And then we have Pacifism. So here's an enchantment for us. Enchant creature. Enchanted creature can't attack or block. Pretty normal one there. And then we have our Thriving Health again, which we saw in the last set, and then just all of our lands going through there. So no additional card back behind the actual land. And there you have it. So let's go ahead, we'll put this away, and we'll go ahead and get on into the next one. I'm putting them back into the bags, so they will be random. I wanted to see what I got. I wanted to put it up on stream. But yes, we will still be able to play with these. They're sliding right back in, and we won't know what they are when we actually go and pick them out of the box. I am going to reshuffle them, so when we do play, yes, we will get to experience that. But I also want to make sure that anything that's of high value ends up in sleeves before we play with them. So here's this, and we'll slide that right back into there to keep them safe. And it goes right back in that pile there. Yeah, I know it's a likely story because you're watching it happen. All right, so let's go ahead and open up the next one here. And let's see. Pull that out. Nope. Again, just going to have to tear this a little bit. Double sleeved on all of these, or well, double packaged, not double sleeved. Double packaged on all of these to keep them safe. Which, you know, that's nice. And we have Witchcraft. Oh. So far I've had a couple of white and a green. This is going to be my first black one that we pull out of here. And we're only in the first opening here. You're here for the inside info. Well, at least we've got that going for us. So, Witchcraft. And our first card is Bog Brew Witch. It's search your library for a card named Festering Newt or Bubbling Cauldron. Put it into the battlefield tapped, then shuffle your library. So Bog Brew Witch there. So that's our big one there. And then we have Witch of the Moors. 4/4 Death Touch. At the beginning of your end step, if you gained life this turn, each opponent sacrifices a creature, and you return up to one target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. So there's our two rares from this one. Blood Divination. As an additional cost to cast the spell, sacrifice a creature, draw 3 cards. Alright, so 4, sacrifice a creature, draw 3 cards. I guess it's not a bad one. I don't know, I suppose after getting things where it costs 1 mana to scry 2 and then draw 1, that seems like a bad deal, but it is black, so it is what it is. Bubbling Cauldron. 1 tap, sacrifice a creature, you gain 4 life. Or 1 tap, sacrifice a creature named Festering Newt. Each opponent loses 4 life. You gain life equal to the life lost this way. That's pretty interesting. So if you're playing in a multi-player game with that, you could, you know, have some interesting potential happen there. Then we have Swarm of the Bloodflies. Flying Swarm of the Bloodflies enters the battlefield with 2 +1/+1 counters on it. Whenever another creature dies, put a +1/+1 counter on Swarm of the Bloodflies. Tempting Witch. When Tempting Witch enters the battlefield, create a food token. And then you pay 2, sacrifice a food token. Target player loses 3 life. So you can gain 3 life for it for yourself, or you can sack it and hit someone else. Inner package so that you can see the theme of the package when picking your 2 halves to combine and play with. That's interesting. I just figured you'd just crack 2 of them open. I knew that there were the themes. I didn't know that they were intended to be opened and then done that way. But as you can see, it's got that little card that does block that out. So thanks for letting me know that. Bake into a Pie. Destroy target creature. Create a food token. I kind of like that card. That's a fun one to use. It is a little expensive, but it gets rid of something and it creates a food token. So overall, I find that fun to play with. Then we have Black Cat. When Black Cat dies, target opponent discards a card at random. And then we have Blood Hunter Bats. Whenever Blood Hunter Bats enters the battlefield, target player loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. Festering Newt. We finally found the Festering Newt. So the Festering Newt is when Festering Newt dies, target creature an opponent controls gets -1/-1 until end of turn. That creature gets -4/-4 instead if you control a creature named Bogbrew Witch, which we do. So nice little synergy there, and we get 2 of those in here. So that's a nice little combo set up there to quickly give -4/-4 to something. Plus, with some of the other synergies, you can also take away life from the other players as well. And then we have Last Grasp. Target creature gets -3/-3 until end of turn. And then we have the Thriving Moor. And of course, that's the specialty land. This one is the black and 1 other of chosen color. And there's all of our lands. Now, the nice thing about these lands that I've really liked the idea of these in this set is if you do something outside of this with these and you do a multicolor deck, you can put up to every color in here, so you can get 5 of those in your land setup and do mana fixing when you're playing this. So you put it out in the field, you look at your hand, and you can add whatever color you really feel needs to be in there for your stuff. So I'm a fan of these lands, and I think that they are going to be worth quite a bit more than what they sit at now, especially once Jumpstart goes away. Now, if they continue to print this, maybe not. Maybe it stays at a nice low price. But I really do think that they are some impressive lands overall, because it's a dual land that is also mana fixing, and all you have to worry about is paying up that little bit of extra cost. So there we have that. All right. So we are 4 packs in, on to pack number 5. Looks like we're going to be here doing this for a while. Once we get to some of the repeat cards, I don't know that we'll see a whole lot of repeat cards, though. We'll have to wait and find out about that. Because there are 3 different variants of all the different colors, it's possible that we don't get a whole lot of repeat in here. Like I didn't get the dog that sacrifices itself in the actual dog deck. I thought that was interesting. I just now realized that, and if I'm wrong, let me know. But I'm pretty sure that's what that showed. They're good at fixing lands, but still slow. Yes, I am aware that they are tap lands, but still better. Ooh, dinosaurs. Awesome. Let's see what we got in the dinosaur pack. But yes, if you're doing multicolor, the fixing lands, yeah, I do believe that is good overall. So sure, it slows you down, but it ensures that you're going to have the colors you need long term, especially if you do it early. So dinosaurs, and we are going to start out with Zavala, Heart of the Wilds. Elf Scout. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield, its controller may draw a card if its power is greater than each other creature's power. And for green, tap, add X mana in any combination of colors, where X is the greatest power among creatures you control. So that's really good right there. And not a second legendary. So it seems like, I believe this is one of the higher costing ones. So it seems like if you're getting some of the really good pulls, so you're not going to get the 2 legendaries. You're basically getting the 1 mythic. All right. So next we have Drover the Mighty. Drover the Mighty gets +2/+2 as long as you control a dinosaur. Add 1 mana of any color. And next up we have Savage Stomp. This spell costs 2 less to cast if it targets a dinosaur you control. Put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. Then that creature fights target creature you don't control. So for 1 mana, you can get a +1/+1 put on a dinosaur, and yeah, then you get to have them fight. So that's pretty good. So far in green, So the color that gets the boost to how fast you can actually ramp, just on the creatures at least so far, cost less than what white did, is from what I'm seeing overall. It's sad because the white had some nice cards in it, but unfortunately it's just going to slow you down. Okay, well, I can accept that. And being someone who, doesn't have a ton of cards, I'm good with budget things that can go in there and help mana fix in some of these sets. Alright, so then we have Thundering Spineback. Other dinosaurs you control get +1/+1. For 6 mana, 5 and a green, create a 3/3 green dinosaur creature token with trample. And then we have Garruk's Uprising. When Garruk's Uprising enters the battlefield, if you control a creature with power 4 or greater, draw a card. Creatures you control have trample. Whenever a creature with a power of 4 or greater enters the battlefield under your control, draw a card. So card draw on a 3, and something that should have several creatures that have power greater than 4. We've got one there, and here's our second one here, which is Colossal Dreadmaw, and it's a 6/6 trample. Pretty straightforward dinosaur. And then we have Commune with Dinosaurs. Look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal a dinosaur or land card from among them and put them into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. And we have Crushing Canopy. Destroy target creature with flying, or destroy target enchantment. So far we have like 2 big spells and otherwise far more balanced in this, and New Horizons. So enchant land. When New Horizons enters the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. Enchanted land has tap, add 2 mana of any one color. Maybe if you got this along with that white, it would work out pretty well, but so far, yeah, that one is the most disappointing of all of these. But continuing on with dinosaurs, we have a 4/2 dinosaur here for 3 mana. And now we have our Thriving Grove, which is the add a green or 1 mana of chosen color. So you choose that when it comes out into play. And then underneath, we've got a couple more dinosaurs here. So we've got Ornery Dilophosaur, Death Touch 2/2. Whenever Ornery Dilophosaur attacks, if you control a creature with a power of 4 or greater, Ornery Dilophosaur gets +2/+2 until end of turn. So not bad. Not as good on the defense, but hey, free +2/+2, sure, why not? But really, it probably should have just been a 4/4 for the 4 mana cost. But, never know what they're thinking. But it also falls under common, so those don't just get some of those abilities oftentimes. And Drowsing Pteranodon, Dinosaur Defender. As long as you control a creature with power 4 or greater, Drowsy Pteranodon can attack as though it didn't have Defender. So 3/3 Defender. And then, of course, it's just the forest cards there. So you can see all of that there. Go ahead and pack this one up. And we'll move into the next ones. So, if you haven't had the opportunity to check out Jumpstart, so far from what I'm seeing, it looks like it'd be a lot of fun, especially for starting off with friends. And as I mentioned before, I've got friends who are interested in and enjoy playing Magic, but just not something that they can really prioritize right now. So it's nice for them to get something like this where they can jump in, enjoy a game with you and your friends, and not have to worry about investing into a whole lot of cards. They just buy a couple of packs, or you buy a box like I did, and you and your friends just get into it, have some fun, and they can go right back into your collection for play again later at another time, and mix them all up and do it all over again. Alright, so let's see what we've got in this one. Oh, there we go. And we have ourselves Spooky. Alright, let's see what's in Spooky. Go ahead and peel that open. And first up in Spooky, we have Ogre Slumlord. Whenever another non-token creature dies, you may create a 1/1 black rat creature token. Rats you control have death touch. And we also got Languish. All creatures get -4/-4 until end of turn. Followed by Malfic Scythe. So artifact equipment. Malfic Scythe enters the battlefield with a soul counter on it. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 for each soul counter on Malfic Scythe. Whenever equipped creature dies, put a soul counter on Malfic Scythe. So it costs 1 to equip, it only costs 2 to put in, and it gets more powerful the more creatures that you have. So if you have a sack outlet with that equipped to something, you know, you can pump that up fairly quickly. Maybe get some dredge skeletons hooked up with that or something, I don't know. And then we have Bone Picker. This creature costs 3 less to cast if a creature died this turn. Flying, death touch. So if you have a creature die, you could get a 3/2 flying death touch out for 1 black. Or just a single mana, a black. Otherwise, it's going to cost you 4, but really, that's pretty good. And then Eternal Taskmaster. Eternal Taskmaster enters the battlefield tapped. Whenever Eternal Taskmaster attacks, you may pay 3, a black and 2 generic. If you do, return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Then we have Gristle Grinner. Whenever a creature dies, Gristle Grinner gets +2/+2 until end of turn. Ooh, and Liliana's Devotee. Zombies you control get +1/+0. At the beginning of your end step, if a creature died this turn, you may pay 2. If you do, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token. Alright, well, that's pretty good. And now we have Crypt Lurker. When Crypt Lurker enters the battlefield, you may sacrifice a creature or discard a creature card. If you do, draw a card. If you're hearing that noise, it's because we got a storm starting to come through, so that's probably what you're going to hear with that noise in the background. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and read this one again because I don't know that I read it. But Crypt Lurker, when Crypt Lurker enters the battlefield, you may sacrifice a creature or discard a creature card. If you do, draw a card. So card draw with a sack outlet. And then we have Cage Zombie. For 2, a black and a generic, tap, each opponent loses 2 life. Activate this ability only if a creature died this turn. So if it were outside of this, there would be plenty of ways of making that go infinite, because all you need is a creature that died this turn, and as long as something died, if you have the ability to untap that constantly with unlimited mana, that would work out pretty well. And then we have Dutiful Attendant. When Dutiful Attendant dies, return another target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. And then we have Finishing Blow. Destroy target creature or planeswalker. I guess because it gets the planeswalker in there, it bumps up the cost, but that's 5 mana to kill something. Fiendish Imp, flying. Fetid Imp, flying. For 1 black, Fetid Imp gains death touch until end of turn, and it's a 1/2. So not bad. Allows it to kill something, throw it in front of something, and take it out. And yeah. And then we have Thriving War, and then just all of our lands there again. So, see all of that. Alright, so let's go ahead and pack this one back up. Welcome back. And let's see what we can get from there. So that was spooky. First one I believe that I saw that came with equipment. So, yeah, that was nice. And the equipment really not bad. 2 mana and then 1 to equip. And then if you have a recurring death creature or something, you can just constantly pump that up every time, you know, dread skeletons or something die, which unfortunately they weren't in this, and not really any graveyard recursion in this, so you'll have to be kind of careful with how you use those abilities in this particular setup, but it does give you that. Alright, and next up, what do we have here? Trying to get that, I guess I can leave that part attached down at the bottom. And cut this open. And let's see what we have here. Nice and careful like. And we've got ourselves +1. Ooh, Hydro deck or Hydra and Ooze. We'll find out here in a moment. Alright. Kind of hoping we get the Elves one, but, you know, I think everybody hopes that they get the Elves one with this. That card for this setup is over $100 now. Alright, and first up we have Rishkar Prima Renegade. I'm sure I butchered that. When Rishkar Prima Renegade enters the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on each of 2 target creatures. Each creature you control with a counter on it has tapped add green. So that's pretty good. And then we have Invigorating Surge. Put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. Then double the number of +1/+1 counters on that creature. Oh. So that's, yeah, good way to go with Hydras. And then we have Wildwood Scourge. Wildwood Scourge enters the battlefield with X +1/+1 counters. Whenever 1 or more +1/+1 counters are put on another non-Hydra creature you control, put a +1/+1 counter on Wildwood Scourge. So, yeah, there we go. Good way to boost that up quickly with something that could come in early game and still be powerful late game. Inspiring Call. Draw a card for each creature you control with a +1/+1 counter on it. Those creatures gain indestructible until end of turn. Card draw, indestructible for 3 mana. That's a nice play, and it's an instant speed. So that works as a good way to protect your creatures if you needed to, if they're going to get wiped out in combat or something. Alright, Nession Horn Beetle. At the beginning of combat, on your turn, if you control another creature with power 4 or greater, put a +1/+1 counter on Nession Horn Beetle. Not bad, 2/2, pumps up over time, comes in at a low cost. Awesome. Then we have Truffle Snout. When Truffle Snout enters the battlefield, choose 1. Put a +1/+1 counter on Truffle Snout or gain 4 life. Costs 3, you get a 2/2. That can be a 3/3. Hunter's Edge. Put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. Then that creature deals damage equal to its power to target creature you don't control. Oh, that's nice. And Pride Malkin, that's what I'm going with. There are variants of each theme. The Allosaurus version would be very good, though. Yes, the Allosaurus version would be incredible. I would actually pull that one out and put it in my elf deck. Sorry. But if I got that, it's going in the elf deck. Okay, and then Arbor Armament. Instant, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. That creature gains reach until end of turn. It's pretty good because I don't think I've seen anything with flying in most of these. And then Fertilid, that's what we're going with. Fertilid enters the battlefield with 2 +1/+1 counters on it. Pay 2, a green and a generic. Remove a +1/+1 counter from Fertilid. Target player searches their library for a basic land card, puts it in the battlefield tapped, then shuffles their library. So that's pretty good. Get a little bit of a blocker if you need it, and then some ramp as well. Costly for the ramp part, but it gives you both abilities long term, so I suppose it's all right. And Scrounging Bander enters the battlefield with 2 +1/+1 counters on it. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may move any number of +1/+1 counters from Scrounging Banner into another target onto another target creature. Okay. Then we have Thriving Grove and our lands there. So that's all of that set. We'll go ahead and pack that one back up now. Okay. Let's see. So this is the +1 set that I managed to pull here. And we're almost through the first stack. So about a third of the way through after this. Well, it'll be a third of the way through after this next pack. So quite a bit to get through here with all of these. If I can slide that back in there safely. Come on, you can do it. I'm sure I can. I got it in there, or got it out of there. There we go. Come on. That's why you also keep that on the outside, because it ensures I don't actually do something dumb and damage the card underneath. All right. Yep. There we go. Let's see what we have in this one. And survey says we have ourselves another Legion. Let's find out if this one is any different than the last Legion we got. Be a little irritated if this is actually the exact same. We shall find out. And we start off with Glorious Anthem. Creatures you control get +1/+1. And that's the only rare in here. All right. And then we get Siege Striker, double strike, 1/1 for 3 mana. Whenever Siege Striker attacks, you may tap any number of untapped creatures you control. Siege Striker gets +1/+1 until end of turn for each creature tapped this way. I'm not a fan of that. I don't know. It would have its places, but I would think that overall that really isn't that good. Not without like Trample or something. Alright. Faith's Fetters. Enchant permanent. When Faith's Fetters enters the battlefield, you gain 4 life. Enchanted permanent can't attack or block, and its activated abilities can't be activated unless they're mana abilities. There are variants of each theme. Oh, same thing I read before. Sorry about that. Release the Dogs. Create 4 1/1 white dark creatures. Pretty similar here. Put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. So that's pretty good for 2 mana. I like that. Valorous Steed again. Vigilance. When Valorous Steed enters the battlefield, create a 2/2 white knight creature token with Vigilance. Another Unicorn, Daybreak Charger. Daybreak Charger enters the battlefield. Target creature gets +2/+0 until end of turn. And the Makeshift Battalion, face for the Legion card. Whenever Makeshift Battalion and at least 2 other creatures attack, put a +1/+1 counter on Makeshift Battalion. And then we get a 1/3 dwarf for 1 mana. That's pretty good. So Staunch Shieldmate. I actually rather like that as a 1/3. It makes a good opening play right there. And then we have Fortify. Choose one. Creatures you control get +2/+0 until end of turn, or creatures you control get +0/+2 until end of turn. A pretty decent card right there. And then Legion's Judgment. Destroy target creature with power 4 or greater. So, not bad overall there. Thriving Health. And we have one more back here. Raise the Alarm. Create 2 1/1 white creature tokens for 2. I like that better than the high cost ones where you get like 4 for 5 or 4 for 4 mana, because then you're playing it late in the game, and most of the time the bunches of those little creatures just are not as effective in many cases as they would be earlier on in the game. So I like that in that for that regard, and it better than a lot of the high costing ones. This white setup was actually significantly cheaper than, I believe it was the dogs was the most expensive of these so far, but even the other white one was far more expensive to play, I believe, than this one. Maybe not. Maybe I'm just seeing things the way I want to see them. All right. Go ahead and drop this in here, and that's the last one from this stack. We can get that in there. There we go. Nice and safely tucked away. All right. So we'll go ahead and we will drop this stack back in the box. So I'm going to pull this stack out first. And there we go for that. Slide that back around here. And let's go ahead and get into this next stack. So, third of the way through, and we'll find out where we go from here. They've been so far pretty much towards the bottom, but one of these times I'm going to do something dumb if I don't check. So, just got to keep checking to make sure I'm not accidentally going to cut into cards when I shouldn't be. Alright, and here we go. So we have elves. Ooh, elves, that's exciting. Let's see what we got in elves. Did we get the one I wanted? Am I going to be the lucky winner? Survey says yes. Allosaurus Shepard. Oh my goodness. Whew, that is the one I was really hoping for. I'm excited. That one is definitely going in my deck. So, sorry, Jay, you won't be able to play against me with this one, but Allosaurus Shepard can't be countered. Green spells you control can't be countered. For 6 mana, 2 green, 4 generic. Until end of turn, each elf creature you control has a basic power and toughness of 5/5 and becomes a dinosaur in addition to its other creature types. So that's the big pull right there. Allosaurus Shepard, most expensive card in the set, currently listing for up to $120 value. A lot of places are still listing it at $110, but that was the price starting last week, and I have seen this one creep up. And with everyone going for elves, that's probably part of the reason why that one is so expensive, is because of that pre-con that came out recently for Commander. All right, and then we have Skyway Sniper. It's a 1/2 reach that with a ability that costs 3 a green and 2 generic. Skyway Sniper deals 1 damage to target creature with flying. So, has a little bit of a ping ability, and it costs 1 green to get out. So, pretty quick so far. 1/1. So far, these have been really fast with these green-based decks for the most part. And then we have Duin's Elite. When Duin's Elite enters the battlefield, if you control another elf creature, create a 1/1 green elf warrior creature token. So every time you drop an elf, you get another elf. That is pretty awesome. So 2 mana to get a 2/2 that produces more 1/1s for you. All right. And then we have Ciliana's Wayfinder. When Ciliana Wayfinder enters the battlefield, look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature or land card from among them, put it on top of your library, put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. So 2 for a 2/1. And then we have Wyrn's Run Vanquisher. As an additional cost to cast the spell, reveal an elf card from your hand or pay 3. So it's a 3/3 Death Touch that costs 2 if you can reveal an elf, and if you can't, it costs you 4. Oh. No, 5. Costs you 5. I should be able to do math faster than that. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, that was bad of me. Landlord Visionary. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I was just saying, okay, Landlord's Visionary, 2/2 for 3, and you can tap to add green. Ooh, and we got ourselves a Titanic Growth in here. Target creature gets +4/+4 until end of turn. Titanic Growth. All right. Oh, still so excited. So excited about that. Oh, boy. Yeah. That may not even be going back in that pack, but I don't have... Oh, I do have some sleeves over here. So, yes, I'm just going to make sure that you stay nice and safe. And one of my Ultra Pro sleeves there. Oh, boy. So, yeah, the Allosaurus Shepard there. Hopefully we can still see that on camera, but yeah, making me nervous to leave that one sitting out. And it looks like it's pretty well centered. All right, so continuing on, Hunter's Edge. So put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. Then that creature deals damage equal to its power to target creature you don't control. Crushing Canopy. Choose one. Destroy target creature with flying or destroy target enchantment. Leaf Gilder. Tap to add 1 green for a 2/1 creature. Presence of Gond. Enchant creature. Enchanted creature has tap. Create a 1/1 green elf warrior creature token. Okay. And then Thriving Grove or Specialty Land. Oh, and one more. Wild Heart Invoker. So 4 mana for 4/3. And you spend 8. Target creature gets +5/+5 and gains trample until end of turn. So another nice, big, powerful card there. Or powerful boost right there. And yeah, that's not horrible on a creature. It's still 8 mana to only give +5/+5, but the fact that you have it readily available on a creature, not the worst that I've seen. And then we've got the lands there. So there you go, check that all out. But yep, there's the big one. Oh, really excited about that. So we're gonna go ahead and slide this back into its pack. But as I said, it's sorry guys, that one is going into my elf deck. It is not going to be staying sitting around. $120 card right there for the Allosaurus Shepard. Oh, way excited about that. That is what you break this set open for, hoping that you get more than anything. So I'm just going to leave that one sitting right up there, and that can hang out for a while. All right, so there's that first pack and the second third. So if you're just joining, we are a third of the way through. This is our second third, starting with the Allosaurus Shepard, which was top center of this box. So if any of you are superstitious, believe that these packs fall in a certain manner, just so you're aware, top center of this box. And yeah, that's good to know. So maybe if you crack open your box, maybe check that one first if that's what you're really looking for. I know there's not actually supposed to be any specific order to where these actually fall, but I've always kind of had that belief. I'm a little superstitious on some of those things, and I feel like normally the best cards are typically kept middle on the left and right, and sometimes in the center, but more towards the middle of the stack. Just because they know those cards are there and want to keep them safe. All right, and here we have Spirits, which is in blue. So let's go ahead and check that out. I kind of thought Spirits would be in white, but blue makes sense. We have that new commander, and he's a spirit. He's white blue, and so I don't know why I would have just presumed white for Spirits, but here we go. And first up, we have Shacklegeist, 2 for a 2/2 spirit. Flying. Shacklegeist can't be blocked. Sorry. Still really excited about that. I keep looking over at it and getting distracted. But Shacklegeist. Flying. Shacklegeist can block only creatures with flying. Tap 2 untapped spirits you control. Tap target creature you don't control. Oh. It doesn't say when you do that. Tap 2 untapped spirits you can... Oh, so anytime. Anytime I can tap 2 spirits and tap 2 creatures I don't control. So that's nice. And then we have Rattle Chain. Spirit, flash, flying. Rattle Chains enters the battlefield. Target spirit gains hexproof until end of turn. You may cast spirit spells as though they had flash. All right. So that's nice. So Rattle Chains there, 2/1 for 2 on that one. And Rewind, counter target spell, untap up to 4 lands. So nice little counter spell there in blue spirits. Battleground Geist. Flying other spirits you control get +1/+0. It's a 3/3 for 5 total mana there. Departed Deckhand. When Departed Deckhand becomes the target of a spell, sacrifice it. Departed Deckhand can't be blocked except by spirits. For 4 mana, a blue and 3 generic, another target creature you control can't be blocked this turn except by spirits. So that's nice. Nebulagast Herald. Flash, flying. Whenever Nebulagast Herald or another spirit enters the battlefield under your control, tap target creature an opponent controls. A lot of flash in here. Alright, oh, even more. Here's an enchantment aura, Capture Sphere, flash. Enchant creature. When Capture Sphere enters the battlefield, tap enchanted creature. Enchanted creature doesn't untap during its controller's untap step. Alright. So there we go. A little bit of kind of targeted removal there. Roaming Ghostlight. Flying. When Roaming Ghostlight enters the battlefield, return up to 1 target non-spirit creature to its owner's hand. Next up we have Rookie Mistake. Until end of turn, target creature gets +0/+2, and another target creature gets -2, -0. Oh, that's kind of nice. I don't think I have that one. That's for 1 mana. That's a 4-point swing if you're playing that for defense. I like that. All right, and then Frost Breath. Tap up to 2 target creatures. Those creatures don't untap during their controller's next untap step. And Tome of Anima. Tome of Anima can't be blocked as long as you've drawn 2 or more cards this turn. 3/3 spirit for 4. Then we have our Thriving Isle and Winged Words. This spell costs 1 last to cast. If you control a creature with flying, draw 2 cards. So card draw, and then we have our mana here. So there's all of that. So that's nice overall. That one, I guess it's a little pricey, but it also has a lot of really low-cost things overall. So I think that one works out pretty well as balanced, but I don't know. Without a way of playing like this 5-drop here easily, I just... It seems like some of these games are just going to have to be slower to really take advantage of them. But I guess it's really not a problem as long as they're all fairly balanced. But yeah, it does look like most of these are going to be slower games. But I suppose that's really up to you. If you're an experienced player and you're really driven to have that fast-paced gameplay, there's plenty of ways that you can get that outside of the set. So I wouldn't really worry too much about that. And there are a lot of cards of high value in here, so you can just buy this to try and get the high-end cards. If you're trying to get yourself your Allosaurus Shepard, you know, there's one way of going about and doing that. So yeah. All right, so we've got those in there, and on to the next pack. All right, so 1 o'clock. We'll see if I can get through the rest of these in an hour. It might take longer than that. I'll have people coming home here shortly, so might need to take a short break at some point in order to welcome them home, make sure the kids get settled a little bit before we finish up, but we'll get through all of these one way or another. All right, so we have Smashing. Red. Oh, this is our first red one. All right, so I've seen a lot of white, a lot of green. I've had a little bit of black, 1 blue, and here's our first red in Smashing. So, you know, let's find out what we've got in here. I'm a fan of red. Oftentimes mono red wins in a lot of these, so let's see where we end up. Volcanic Salvo. Whew, 12 mana. Hopefully this has a way to reduce cost. Otherwise, I don't know how you're ever getting this spell played in this set. But this spell costs X less to cast, where X is the total power of creatures you control. So excellent. Already right there, reducing that mana cost. Volcanic Salvo deals 6 damage to each of up to 2 target creatures and or planeswalkers. That is... I guess it's a good bit of damage, but man, you better be able to drive that down to like 2 to 4 mana in order for that to be really worth that cost. That's expensive. So let's see what's in here. Hopefully this proves it worthwhile for having such a high cost on that card. Here we go. Furious Rise. At the beginning of your end step, if you control a creature with power 4 or greater, exile the top card of your library. You may play that card until you exile another card with Furious Rise. So, I guess that's okay. Exile the top card of your library. So, it is kind of card draw. It's kind of giving you an extra card in your hand. You play this on turn 3. So it's not terrible, but I don't know how I feel about that one. I kind of like it, and it kind of irritates me. I don't know. Let me know what you think on that one. Blood Rage Brawler. When Blood Rage Brawler enters the battlefield, discard a card. 2 for a 4/3. Oh, that's worth it. Discarding a card, especially if you have something extremely expensive in hand and getting that creature out fast, that could make a big difference. So Flames of the Raise Boar deal 4 damage to target creature an opponent controls. Then Flames of the Raise Boar deals 2 damage to each other creature that player controls if you control a creature with power 4 or greater. So cost 6, but you deal 4 damage, and then you deal 2 damage to everything else. So not horrible in this. Again, another high costing card, in a color that does not really mana produce. So at least with this one, you can drive down the price. So, you know, if you have like Blood Rage Brawler here, you get that out in the battlefield, all of a sudden this goes from costing 12 to, well, I guess it's still at that point costs you 8, but at least it has the ability to go down. At 6, that's still very expensive. Hellfire Immolator. Prowess. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, this creature gets +1/+1 till end of turn. So not bad for 2 mana that just gets that bump. Sacrifice Hellfire Immolator. It deals damage equal to its power to target creature or planeswalker. Alright. And then Anarchy Ogre. Ogre Warrior for 2 for 3. Alright, so another thing that's going to help drive down that price. We have ourselves a short sword. It's a equipment, but +1/+1 to a creature. Only costs 1 to equip. So not bad. Another creature here, we have a Turret Ogre with reach. And Turret Ogre enters the battlefield. If you control another creature with power 4 or greater, Turret Ogre deals 2 damage to each opponent. Oh, that's not bad. Nice little way to get a little extra damage in there. And Borderland Marauder. So right there, the card from the Smashing card. Whenever Borderland Marauder attacks, it gets +2/+0 until end of turn. Then we have Fling. Fling is a nice card. As an additional cost to cast this spell, sacrifice a creature. Fling deals damage equal to the sacrificed creature's power to any target. It's one of those cards that's really nice with something that you can recur things from the graveyard. So, you know, you fling a big giant creature and then you can bring it back out if it has any special abilities. And here it's mostly because you got a lot of 4/3s. Some of these decent-sized creatures that are designed to deal a lot of damage but don't have much in regards to defense. And you could fling it really quick in combat. So if it's going to die anyways, you can enjoy the ability of it dealing damage. If you're watching this, you probably already know, but, you know. Hungry Flames. Hungry Flames deals 3 damage to target creature and 2 damage to target player or planeswalker. Alright, so that one, that's a nice instance. So it only costs 3. And kill a creature, deal some damage to a player. I don't mind that. Don't mind that at all. Thriving Bluff, the specialty land in this one. And then Bone Pit Barbecue. Cost 6. Menace. When Bone Pit Barbecue enters the battlefield, target creature gets +4/+0 until end of turn. So, yeah, and then we have the lands here. So there we have that. And there's everything that is in this pack. So, I don't know. You would probably either want to pull this one with green or black. Green for the ramp, or black for the graveyard recursion that you can get with some of these. I don't know. Some of these I look at and I worry about how well they would actually play. And most of these, like the burns, aren't really dealing damage to the player. I mean, so 12 mana with Volcanic Salvo deals 6 damage to each of up to 2 target creatures and or planeswalkers. So it's a decent amount of damage, but not for that cost. I don't know. But, you know, you've I guess even in this set, you've got to have your kind of bulk rares. Maybe you know something better with that than I do. It can be driven all the way down to 2 mana, which at that point, yes, if you can get that down to only costing 2 mana, that is a pretty good deal. If you have that outside of Jumpstart and you can use that with something like Fiery Emancipation or some other damage doubler, that could be really impressive. You throw in Thor. That's all I can think of. Thor, the Thor card, the god from Kaldheim, and that could pick up really quickly for a whole lot of extra damage that you could redirect at a player. So that would be nice. But otherwise, in this, I don't see that as being a great card in Jumpstart, at least from the things that I've pulled so far. Alright, so we have this. On our next set is Vampires. Ooh, I'm excited about that one. Let's see what we have in Vampires. Actually, give me 1 second, though. I am going to grab a quick drink. I'm kind of out of water over here, so be right back in just a second. But Vampires is next up. Alright, sorry about that, and we're back. Okay, let's get the Vampires open. Let's see what we've got. I've been wanting to build a vampire deck. I don't actually know what's in this set for vampires. We're gonna find out. There are a lot of cheap vampires that do much, and there are some cheap vampires that do a whole lot. So we'll find out here momentarily. Drana, Liberator of Malachor. Legendary creature, vampire ally, mythic. Flying, first strike. Whenever Drana, Liberator of Malachor deals combat damage to a player, put a +1/+1 counter on each attacking creature you control. So, not bad. Only 3 mana. It does have to deal the damage to a player, but then it gets to boost up the other attacking creatures. So you need a way to protect her, but that's not a bad card. I would say that would be very useful in many circumstances, but you're going to have to get it just right for that to really be useful. That's a one-on-one thing. I guess it does have flying, which is nice. So having that flying ability does make a big difference. And then we have Silversmoke Ghoul. It's a zombie vampire. At the beginning of your end step, if you gained 3 or more life this turn, return Silversmoke Ghoul from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. Okay, so some graveyard recursion. Life gain is going to be in here apparently. And then for 2, a black and a generic, sacrifice Silversmoke Ghoul, draw a card. So graveyard recursion plus card draw. That's really not bad there. 3 mana on that one. Blood Bond Vampire. Vampire Shaman ally. Whenever you gain life, put a +1/+1 counter on Blood Bond Vampire. Okay, so 3/3 flyer for 4. Oh, no, not a flyer. So just a 3/3. And it boosts, costs 4, so you get to post +1/+1 counters on it, but I don't know. I haven't seen gain life in here yet, so this could be frustrating if there's not actually gain life in here. Here we go. Frankenwrath Noble, Vampire Noble. Flying. Whenever Frankenwrath Noble or another creature dies, target player loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. So there we go. Some life gain finally. Gifted Aetherborn. A Aetherborn vampire. Death Touch lifelink for a 2/3. Costs 2 mana. 2 black. All right. Sanguine Indulgence. This spell costs 3 less to cast if you've gained 3 or more life this turn. Return up to 2 target creature cards from graveyard to your hand. That's nice. Agonizing Siphon. Agonizing Siphon deals 3 damage to any target. You gain 3 life. Child of Night. Lifelink 2/1. Pretty standard there. Last Grasp. Target creature gets -3/-3 until end of turn. Mark of the Vampire. Enchanted creature. Enchanted creature gets +2/+2 and has lifelink. Oh, so that's nice. Costs 4, but in a deck that needs life gain, that is good. Nocturnal Feeder. Flying Vampire Rogue. When Nocturnal Feeder dies, each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. Ooh, runaway card. All right. And then we have Thriving Moor and Gloomsower. Whenever Gloomsower becomes blocked by a creature, that creature's controller loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. All right. And then just the lands. They are not the Phyrexian Swamps. You can get the Phyrexian Swamps in here. Those are apparently worth quite a bit, but I'm sure you probably have to pull the Phyrexian pack in order to get that. But there we go. I think this is the second black pack that we've had so far. We'll go ahead and pull all this back together. That is an 8/6 for Gloomsower. He's expensive. I guess he costs 7, but it's a big creature. Oh, don't want that one there yet. Okay. So let me know what you think of what you've seen here so far. Do you think this set is actually worth it from what you've seen so far? Right now, the Allosaurus Shepard has made my day, and this whole thing is worth it just from that. And I think this is going to be a lot of fun to play with my friends. I am excited about being able to sit down and play this. So excited that I couldn't wait for them to be randomly opened because, well, I couldn't risk something like that sitting around unsleeved in my friends' hands. I have a few friends that they don't care about sleeving, so we've been playing draft with other friends' packs before, and I've had to go, no, don't touch that until you sleeve it. Put those in your sleeves. You're eating. Don't get your greasy fingers all over that card. It's worth $30. So, yeah. All right, so next pack. Here it comes. What do we have? We've got ourselves Legion again. This is our 3rd Legion. All right, let's find out what's in this Legion pack. This really wants to give us a whole lot of white cards in here. Not sure why. Overall, I haven't been super impressed with the white side. I don't know. I guess the red I wasn't impressed with yet either, but that was just the first one. But here we go. Lena, Selfless Champion. When Lena, Selfless Champion, enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 white soldier creature token for each non-token creature you control. Sacrifice Lena. Creatures you control with power less than Lena's power gain indestructible till end of turn. So, I guess it's good. It's a good way of protecting your creatures. So far, definitely not feeling super impressed. I don't know. 6 mana in white. It's so hard to get there. That's assuming you manage to land your land drop every turn to get to 6 in something that's not going to have ramp, and I doubt that there's going to be any cards in here that allow you to get there. So I don't know. I kind of wish that there were more cards that were lower cost, kind of feels like they would prefer you to open these up and then just spend your time putting these white cards into other decks rather than actually playing with them in your jumpstart set. But I don't know, if you draw green, I suppose it's doable and that would function as a good card, but you know. All right, Mentor of the Meek. Whenever another creature with power 2 or less enters the battlefield under your control, you may pay 1. If you do, draw a card. So 3 mana card draw on a creature. Yeah, I'm good with that. I think we saw him earlier in another pack. And then Siege Striker, Double Strike. Whenever Siege Striker attacks, you may tap any number of untapped creatures you control. Siege Striker gets +1/+1 until end of turn for each creature tapped that way. Yeah, I don't know. Not a huge fan of that, but I suppose if you're being attacked with one giant creature, having that double strike and being able to pump them up is worth it. But otherwise, he's just a 1/1 for 3 with double strike. But there are other cards that have double strike that are cheaper than that could have been put in. All right, Faith's Fetters. Enchant permanent. When Faith's Fetters enters the battlefield, you gain 4 life. Enchanted permanent can't attack or block, and its activated abilities can't be activated unless they're mana abilities. So, that's not bad. I kind of like that one. Costs 4, so it's expensive, but I like it. Selfless Savior again. Once again, love this card. But, you know, it's just me being a dog person and thinking of how wonderful a dog would, like, throw away its life for you in order to keep you protected. It's sad but wonderful all at the same time, just knowing that you have a companion that would do that for you. Basri's Soldiery. Put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. We've seen that, I believe, in every white set, so that's been nice. That's a good one to have in there. Valorous Steed again, Vigilance. When Valorous Steed enters the battlefield, create a 2/2 white knight creature token with Vigilance. Another Daybreak Charger. I'm going to just kind of put these through here. I've read through all of these so far. Fortify, Makeshift Battalion there. Legion's Judgments. Again, just repeat of these same commons over and over. Raise the Alarm, create 2 1/1 white creatures tokens. Talked about that one earlier, how I do enjoy that one because it is low cost for getting you a couple of 1/1s. I think that's much better than spending a whole lot on, you know, getting 4 or 5 1/1s overall most of the time. And then Thriving Thriving Heath is the specialty lands, and yeah, just all the plains on that one again. Alright, so we'll go ahead and stack this one back up and move quickly to try and get to this next pack. Oh, that's a Legion. I wonder if that's on purpose or if it's just what I've happened to get in here. Maybe I'll get 3 of each of them. Maybe. I've gotten 3 green, but the green have all been different sets where white has been Legion every time with some minor variants, and that minor variance primarily comes in the legendaries that are in it. But all the other cards, the commons, the uncommons, are pretty much the same thing over and over again. So, yeah. But I got the Allosaurus Shepard, and that is the one that I was really hoping for. So, I'm good there. Overall, just that card alone makes this entire box worth it. All right. Let's see what we have in our next pack here. After this, we have 2 more for this stack. All right, and we have ourselves Tree Hugging. So another green, another Tree Hugging. We've had the Tree Folk before. Hopefully this is different than the last time. And in Tree Hugging, let's see what we start off with. Primordial Sage. 4/5 spirit. Whenever you cast a creature spell, you may draw a card. A 6 mana card draw. And that is the only legendary we are getting out of here. Not a mythic, legendary. Oftentimes so far the mythics has only have one, but oftentimes the legendaries do have 2 in it, but not this time. Burlfist Oak. Whenever you draw a card, Burlfist Oak gets +2/+2 until end of turn. Warden of the Woods. Vigilance. Whenever Warden of the Woods becomes the target of a spell or ability an opponent controls, you may draw 2 cards. Some more card draw. This one again, 6 mana, 5/7. Hopefully there is some ramp in here somewhere. Nature's Way. Target creature you control gains vigilance and trample until end of turn. It deals damage equal to its power to target creature you don't control. Wall of Blossoms again. Get to draw a card when it enters the battlefield. There we go. Landlord Visionary. Landlord Visionary seems to be in pretty much every single one of these green decks. Enters the battlefield, draw a card, tap to add a green. Then we have our Snare Spinner Spider. Reach. When Snare Spinner Spider blocks a creature with flying, it gets +2/+0 until end of turn. It's a 1/3 otherwise. Aggressive Urge. Target creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Draw a card. There's quite a bit of card draw in this. That's quite good. Not a whole lot of ramps so far. Ambassador's Oak. When Ambassador Oak enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 green elf warrior creature token. 3/3 for 4. Crushing Canopy again. Destroy target creature with flying or destroy target enchantment. Here we go. Explore. You may play an additional land this turn. Draw a card. So there we go. There's some ramp for us with card draw. That's a interesting theme. That's kind of nice to have that card draw. Very little ramp, but enough in it that you're probably not going to hate yourself, but it is going to take you a couple of turns to get to these big creatures. So it is going to run slow, especially since we have Gnarled Sage as the last one in here, which is another 5-drop, 4/4 reach. As long as you've drawn 2 or more cards this turn, Gnarled Sage gets +0/+2 and has vigilance. I don't know how often with the jumpstart you're going to see that second card draw by the time you are getting up to 5 mana. It's just kind of difficult to redo in this set. And there's our lands, the Thriving Grove for that one. So we'll go ahead and... Sorry, I put Explore upside down there. We'll go ahead and collect these up and go on from there. Oh, boy. Primordial Sage. 6-drop. Well, so far, so good. Overall, I'm happy with it. It does seem like that jumpstart is going to be slow. But it is what it is on that one. Alright, next up. Let's see what we have in here. Go ahead and let's double check, make sure. Yep. Should be safe as long as I'm cutting that on that taper, but, you know, there's always that risk that you mess something up. Peel there. Alright. Sliding out, and what do we have? Milling. Ah, our second blue, and it is milling based. Alright. I don't know what milling would synergize well with in this. It's definitely a good way to go in an alternative win scenario, but I don't know what I would want to pull with this. Very interesting. But Bruvok, the Grand Granquillet. I did not pronounce that right. I think this is one of those expensive cards again, but here we have, it's a 1/4 for 3. If an opponent would mill 1 or more cards, they mill twice that many cards instead. So that's a nice card right there, especially if you're going to put that into a mill deck. The commander deck that has milling that came out, the rogue milling one, that would be good for that one as well. Alright, Bell Tower Sphinx. Whenever a source deals damage to Bell Tower Sphinx, that source's controller mills that many cards. So that's good. It costs 5, and it'll cause you to mill 2 every time you hit with it. Alright, Reckless Scholar. Target player draws a card, then discards a card. So, kind of mill, kind of card draw for yourself. You can do that to them or yourself. So, works either way. Wall of Lost Thoughts. Defender. When Wall of Lost Thoughts enters the battlefield, target player mills 4 cards. Oh. So, 2 mana, mill 4 for a 0/4. And if you have this bad boy out, they're milling 8 for that too. That would hurt, especially in these small decks, because they're only 40 cards. All of a sudden, you're nearly a quarter of the way through their deck in that one play. Teferi's Tutelage. When Teferi's Tutelage enters the battlefield, draw a card, then discard a card. Whenever you draw a card, target opponent mills 2 cards. Ooh. Man, this gets nastier and nastier. Alright. Sell-off Occultist. Human Rogue. Whenever Sell-off Occultist or another creature dies, target player mills a card. 2/3 for 3. So far, this has been good. The 5-drop has been the most expensive so far, but overall, seeing it at 2-3 mana overall for this play, man, I think I would actually be really excited. I don't know what I would want to mix with it, but overall, just the low mana cost in order to get through this and then mill down your opponent, I would think that would work out really well. Return target creature to its owner's hand. If that creature is attacking, you may put it on top of its owner's library instead. Sweep away. So, yeah, that's not bad. 3 mana, targeted removal. Thought Collapse, which is the card which this art is based off of. Thought Collapse. Counter target spell. Its controller mills 3 cards, so 3 mana counter, 2 blue and a generic, to counter a spell, and they have to mill. Man, that is nice. Thought Scour. Target player mills 2 cards, then draw a card. Well, there we go. So 1 blue, mill 2 on them, and you get to draw a card. And we have Thriving Isle. Ooh, and we have 3 cards hidden back here. All right. We have Vulcan Entrancer, and he has a special ability of for a blue and tap, target player mills 2 cards, and it's a 1/4 for 4. Not really attacking in this deck. It's primarily to mill, so that's really good. Towering Wave Mystic. Whenever Towering Wave Mystic deals damage, target player mills that many cards. And Capture Sphere. Flash, enchant creature. Capture Sphere enters the battlefield. Tap enchanted creature. Enchanted creature doesn't untap during its controller's untap step. So we have that. Move that back a little bit more. Starting to pile up there. And then Thriving Isle and our islands there. Alright. Kind of interested to see if we get a Phyrexian pull here. That would be kind of cool. I wonder what Phyrexian would look like with milling. I don't know. But that's what we have there. Okay. I really like this one. This one, I think, would wreak havoc on most of the other decks. Given that none of it is too high in mana cost. It sits primarily right at about 3, with a couple above, 1 or 2 a below 3 mana. Overall, this would be terrifying to play against. If your opponent had this one, likely that they'd be scooping up pretty quickly, because, yeah, just 2 cards in here can wipe out a quarter of your deck, nearly a quarter, probably closer to a fifth for 2 card play, and then you get the other mill in there, and that would hurt. That would go down quickly. So this is the final pack for this stack, and then we'll have the final stack ahead of us for this. So let's see where we're at. Put that guy there, and we have ourselves Rainbow. Ooh, multicolor. All right, that's the first multicolor that we've seen. I could see this being rough in Jumpstart, but who knows? I don't know what's in a rainbow setup here, so we're all gonna find out here momentarily together. Okay, so in Rainbow, our big card is Maelstrom Archangel. Flying. Whenever Maelstrom Archangel deals combat damage to a player, you may cast a spell from your hand without paying its mana cost. Oh, that is nice. So 5/5 flyer does cost all 5 colors, but free card play. Ooh, that would be fun. I think Mill would still destroy that, but having Mill with that, oh man. Oh, we got a mythic and a legendary in the same one. Chamber Sentry. Chamber Sentry enters the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on it for each color of mana spent to cast it. Okay. So you get it to be up to a 5/5 or as low as a 1/1. For X, tap, remove a +1/+ counter from Chamber Sentry. It deals X damage to any target, so that's good. And then if you pay all 5 colors, return Chamber Sentry from your graveyard to your hand. Ooh, with Graveyard Recursion. Wow. So you can play it. It would cost 10 to deal 5 damage to something. But if it were about to die, so you block with 5/5, about to die, you go ahead and tap and remove all the counters from it, and then you get to deal 5 damage to a target, so it could potentially deal 10 damage to something from block, and then you get to recur it. Man, that's really not bad. It's overall kind of pricey if you're just going to use it to deal that 10 damage. Or deal that 5 damage at a time, but as a blocker that then gets that boost to just take something out, that's pretty good. All right, and then Denrova Horror. When Denrova Horror enters the battlefield, return target permanent to its owner's hand, then that player discards a card. Ooh. I have a feeling that this is going to have some pretty good stuff in it. Fusion Elemental. Just an 8/8, but it costs 5, 1 of each color for an 8/8. So, not bad. A little difficult to get out. There are definitely cards that would cheat that out faster. Even this card could cheat it out, so that's nice. Mirrodin's Core. Add 1 generic. Put a charge counter on Mirrodin's Core. Remove a charge counter from Mirrodin's Core. Add 1 mana of any color. Okay, so if you don't use it during a turn, you don't need it. You just put a charge counter on it, and you can add a color, so it's mana fixing. It's a mana fixing land, so that's good. Raging Regisaur. Whenever Raging Regisaur attacks, it deals 1 damage to any target. 4/4 for 4. Then we have Ironroot Warlord. Tree Folk Soldier. Iron Root Warlord. Its power is equal to the number of creatures you control. For 5 mana, 1 white, 1 green, 3 generic. Create a 1/1 white soldier creature token. Then we have Alloy Mirror. Add 1 mana of any color when you tap it. For 3, it's a 2/2. Oh, that's definitely helpful for getting some of these things out. Ogre Spree. Target creature gets +4, -4 until end of turn for 3 mana. Terramorphic Expanse land. Sacrifice Terramorphic Expanse. Search your library for a basic land card. Put it into the battlefield tapped and then shuffle your library. That's one of those cheap fetch lands. It's not going to get you out one of the special ones in this, but still better than nothing, especially in something like this. Law Mage's Binding. Flash enchant creature. Enchanted creature can't attack or block, and its activated abilities can't be activated. For 3 mana, a blue, white, and generic. Pretty good. Prophetic Prism. Prophetic Prism enters the battlefield, draw a card, pay 1 to add a mana of any color. So, not ramp, mana fixing there. So, mana fixing can be good. Got a Ruptured Spire, enters the battlefield tapped. Ruptured Spire enters the battlefield, sacrifice it unless you pay 1. Add 1 mana of any color when you tap it. It's a land that basically costs you 1 mana to keep. And then Skittering Surveyor. When Skittering Surveyor enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a basic land card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. More mana fixing. A lot of mana fixing in this one. Prismite. Prismite is a 2/1 that you pay 2 to add 1 mana of any color. More mana fixing. And then doesn't get a special land other than, well, I guess it gets these lands, but otherwise it gives you 1 of each color in here. So yeah, mana fixing is going to be important in this, and you're really only going to get more mana from whatever else you also added into here. So overall, I think this has some good potential for what it is, but it's going to be difficult to play with. You're just going to have to kind of hope you get lucky on some of these things, really. Otherwise, things like the Chamber Sentry will hold up and help protect you a little bit in that kind of thing, because you can get it to be a 3/3 probably pretty easily, some of these other things. So that's a positive in that regard. And then the Maelstrom Angel, or Archangel, sorry. The Maelstrom Archangel is really the prize from that one. So lots of good stuff in that. And aside from the milling, it looks like just about all of these are going to be pretty slow. The milling will probably win you a game faster than any of these other packs, but given how slow all of this seems to be, that's just kind of where it's going to be. So we have the one last stack here, and we'll be done with the Jumpstart box for what's in here. So let's find out what we have going on there. Sorry, I had to take a drink there. All right. First pack in the final third. Let's see what we've got going on. Ooh, what's it gonna be? We have ourselves Minotaurs. Oh, our second red. Okay. Minotaurs, let's see what we can get out of this. I believe that there's supposed to be planeswalker ones in here somewhere. I don't know how likely it is to pull those. Obviously, I'm in the final third of this, and I have not seen a single Planeswalker. So, if there are actually Planeswalkers in here, I don't know where they're at or how likely they are to be pulled. But pulled the big one, so I'm excited. Nothing else. Everything else in this is just kind of like bonus at this point. Rage Blood Shaman. Trample. Other Minotaur creatures you control get +1/+1 and have trample. It costs 3 for a 2/3 and boosts up your other creature. So that's really awesome. And then we have a second legendary in here. This one's a legendary creature for my commander friends. Sethorn Wholeloom General. Sethorn. Setron. I'm going to go with Setron. Herloon General. Whenever Setron, Herloon General, or another non-token Minotaur enters the battlefield under your control, create a 2/3 red Minotaur creature token. For 3 mana, a red or black, and 2 generic, Minotaurs you control get +1/+0 and gain menace and haste until end of turn. It's pretty good. So you can make them more powerful and gain some additional abilities for 3. Unleash Fury. Double the power of target creature until end of turn. Ooh, that could be nice. You come in here with your general and suddenly it's an 8/4. That would hit hard. Traitorous Greed. Sorcery. Gain control of target creature until end of turn. Untap that creature, it gains haste until the end of turn. Add 2 mana of any one color. Oh. So you get a little bit of mana back for that too. That's nice. Blood Rage Brawler. Whenever Blood Rage Brawler enters the battlefield, discard a card. Soul Seer. Soul Seer deals 5 damage to target creature or planeswalker. That permanent loses indestructible until end of turn. Oh, that's another nice counter for indestructible. Yeah, I like that. Only costs 3. 5 damage. Man, that is nice. Sure Strike. Target creature gets +3/+0 and gains first strike until end of turn. Borderland Minotaur. 4/3 Minotaur Warrior for 4. Not too much to say about that one. Fury of Horns. Create 2/3 red Minotaur creature tokens with haste for 5 mana. I guess this hasn't been terrible so far. A lot of 2 drops. And then a couple of big things. Alright. Lightning Visionary. Prowess. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, this creature gets +1/+1 till end of turn. 2 mana for 2/1 otherwise. Not bad. Okay, Minotaur Skullcleaver. Haste. Whenever Minotaur Skullcleaver enters the battlefield, it gets +2/+0 until end of turn. Minotaur Sure Shot. Reach. Minotaur Sure Shot gets +1/+0 until end of turn for 2. A red and a generic. And then we have our specialty land, the Thriving Bluff, and a bunch of mountains there. So that's it for this one, as you can see. Overall, I'm not displeased with this one. Fairly quick with a couple of big things on the higher end, but yeah, I could see that being very playable. Again, still not seeing anything that would make me think that this is any better than the mill one, though. So far, the mill pole is going to be the fastest way to win with this setup. I just don't see any other way that it could be for that. But yeah, Minotaur didn't look bad overall. So off to a good looking start on this first stack, or on the first one from this final stack here. And just a reminder that if you haven't, make sure you click the follow button or a subscribe button if you're watching this over on YouTube. If you're enjoying this, this is my first box opening and probably going a little slower than most box openings, but it's because it's Jumpstart. Really want to see what is in these packs because you are basically pulling these in order to create a deck out of them. So you really want to make sure that you're paying attention to those big hits and what's in there and knowing what's going on. But we have Spooky for this one. All right, so Spooky again. So this is our second Spooky. The only one that we've gotten more of so far is Allies, and all I can hope is we don't get another one of those in here. But Spooky, here we go with Spooky. Ooh, Black Market. Whenever a creature dies, put a charge counter on Black Market. At the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, add 1 black for each charge counter on Black Market. That's a good card right there. I have that card already, but that is a good one. I like that one. Malfic Scythe. When Malfic Scythe enters the battlefield with a soul counter on it, equipped creature gets +1/+1 for each soul counter on Malfic Scythe. Whenever equipped creature dies, put a soul counter on Malfic Scythe. So it's a good one. It's in the other Spooky set, I believe, that we've already pulled once. But the Black Market was not in that one. So it's good to know. Then we have Bone Picker. This spell costs 3 less to cast if a creature died this turn. Flying, Death Touch, Eternal Taskmaster. Excuse me. Eternal Taskmaster. Eternal Taskmaster enters the battlefield tapped. When Eternal Taskmaster attacks, you may pay 3, a black and 2 generic. If you do, return target creature from your graveyard to your hand. So far it's looking like this is going to be kind of a repeat on these cards. Gristle Grinner. Whenever a creature dies, Gristle Grinner gets +2/+2 until end of turn. Excuse me, one second. Sorry. Liliana's Devotee. Zombies you control get +1/+0. At the beginning of your end step, if a creature died this turn, you may pay 2, 1 and a black. If you do, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token. Crypt Lurker. When Crypt Lurker enters the battlefield, you may sacrifice a creature or discard a creature card. If you do, draw a card. I'm going to need to take a moment here in just a second. My wife is getting home and I'm going to say hello to her. But Caged Zombie. Each opponent loses 2 life. Activate this ability only if a creature died for a generic and a black. Dutiful Attendant. When Dutiful Attendant dies, return another target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Finishing Blow. Destroy target creature or planeswalker. Plagued Ruskala. Spirit. Sacrifice creature. Target creature gets -1/-1 until end of turn for a black. Ooh, and Strengtum Skeleton. Or, I should know how to say that, but return Stengtar. Okay, we're just gonna return Skeleton from graveyard to your hand, and then Thriving Moor is our special land in all of those. All right, I'll be right back in a second. I'm gonna go say hello to my wife. All right, we're back. So go ahead and pack this one back up, and we'll get into the next pack here. So Black Market, do like that card. So I'm kind of excited about pulling that. The rest of these are kind of things that, I don't know. This overall set just very much going to run slow. This one has a lot of 3 drops. It's got a few the low end. But overall, this one was just another one of those that's going to run slow if you pull this pack. And you're going to have to hope for something that's going to pick up the pace on these. But there we have that. Slide this in here without hurting anything. That's the plan anyways. Alright. Doesn't want to sit in there evenly. Okay, I'm going to stop playing with it now. Let's go ahead and get this other one open. Way down in there, so lots of room on this. Alright. What do we have here? And we are Feathered Friend. So white again, but finally not allied. So Feathered Friends. Bird-based deck it looks like it's going to be. I'm excited about that. Hopefully this one is fairly fast-paced. We'll find out here. Oh, we got Angels. Angel of the Dire Hour. So 7 mana right off the bat for this one. Flash flying. When Angel of the Dire Hour enters the battlefield, if you cast it from your hand, exile all attacking creatures. I mean, it's a good card. It has a good ability, but it's 7 mana. You're just not going to sit there with 7 mana open in white. You don't have that. Your hand is probably looking pretty pitiful at that point if you're not playing anything and you have just 7 mana sitting there waiting to be used. I guess it could lull them into a false sense of security if you only have 1 or 2 cards, but you better hope that they aren't able to get rid of that card from your hand. Avian Gagglemaster. Gagglemaster? Okay. 5 mana on this one. Flying. When Avian Gagglemaster enters the battlefield, you gain 2 life for each creature you control with flying. Falconer Adept. Human Soldier. When Falconer Adept when Falconer Adept attacks, create a 1/1 white bird creature token with flying that's tapped and attacking. So 4 mana, not bad, but so far not seeing a low enough mana cost on this to really be excited about playing this if this is what you pull. Dauntless Onslaught. Instant. Up to 2 target creatures get +2/+2 until end of turn. Sky Tether. Oh, here we go. 1 mana finally, but it's an enchant creature. Enchanted creature has defender and loses flying. Concordia Pegasus. Flying 1/3. So finally something cheap gets pulled here. That's a creature anyways. Swift Response. Destroy target tapped creature for 2. So it's giving you protection at the low end for mana cost there a little bit. Warded Battlements. Defender. Attacking creature you control gets +1/+0 for 3. Okay. Sure. Gale Swooper. Flying Griffin. The Gale Swooper enters the battlefield. Target creature gains flying until end of turn. Another 4-drop. Finally, a 1-drop Healer's Hawk. Flying lifelink 1/1. Take Heart. Target creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn. You gain 1 life for each attacking creature you control. Thriving Heath. It's a specialty land, and then we have one more card in here, which is Celestial Enforcer for 3. For 2 mana, a white and a generic. Tap target creature. Activate this ability only if you control a creature with flying. 2/3. So, kind of does some controlling, but really it's... White cannot afford to be this expensive. It doesn't have the ramp to do it. It's just, end of the day, all these other cards, even the Minotaurs in red, that one at least knew where it needed to fall in balance in order to be playable. And this just doesn't do it. Again, white making me feel like, why? It's, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they're supposed to be fixing white, but I would have thought the jumpstart ones would have been a bit better built on white. Because, again, you're just really slowing down the person who ends up pulling this. Sure, the 5/4 is nice, but it costs 7. But, yeah, it's flying, but you're never going to get to play that. You're going to come across another player. By the time you have enough mana to get that out, you're going to be on your final legs. You're going to be just about out of the game before you can use that. And that's been true of pretty much all of these white packs. And it's disappointing to see that. All right, so we'll stop complaining about that for a moment and let's see what our next pack holds. We have ourselves dinosaurs again. All right, lots of white and green in here. Very heavy on white and green, very little on the other colors. All right, so in dinosaurs, we have ourselves Primal Hunger. Ghalta Primal Hunger. So, pretty standard staple in Magic right now. Spell cost X less to cast, where X is the total power of creatures you control. 12/12 trample. This would be very scary in the setup, given how slow this game actually runs. You get that out pretty quickly, and man, run for the hills. Drover of the Mighty. Drover the Mighty gets +2/+2 as long as you control a dinosaur and add 1 mana of any color for a 1/1. So there's some ramp for us right there in green. Savage Stomp. The spell costs 2 less to cast if it targets a dinosaur you control. Put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. Then that creature fights target creature you don't control. Another Thundering Spineback. Ooh, we got ourselves a Cultivate. That's nice. Search your library for up to 2 basic land cards. Reveal those cards, then put one into the battlefield tapped, the other into your hand, then shuffle your library. Mana ramp and fixing, all in one card for 3. Colossal Dreadmaw, 6/6 trample. Commune with dinosaurs. For 1, look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal a dinosaur or land card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest at the bottom of your library. Crushing Canopy. Seen that. Destroy target creature with flying or destroy target enchantment. A Titanic Growth. Target creature gets +4/+4 until end of turn. Orzak Frillback. Orzak Frillback. Okay. Dinosaur 4/2 for 3. No special frills there, but it is a dinosaur and it only costs 3. Then we have Thriving Grove, which is our specialty land. And then we have Ornery Dilophosaur, something like that. I don't know. Again, 4 mana, 2/2 Death Touch. And whenever it attacks, if you control a creature with power 4 or greater, it gets +2/2. And Drowsing Tyrophodon. We've had that one before as well. It's a 3/3 defender, unless you have a creature of 4 or greater, and then it can attack. And then all of our lands, the Thriving Grove again for the specialty one on that. So, alright. Let's see here. We've had 1 blue, 2 red, 4 white, 4 green, 2 black, I believe. So definitely falling a little short on other colors. A lot of white and green in here. Now, you know, if all of my green had the Allosaurus Shepard, then I wouldn't care. Then I would be a happy man, and I'd just be like, it's a busted box, but it's worth a fortune. But we have one of those, so can't complain too much, but I wish I had a better variety of colors. I hope that there is one of those Planeswalker decks in here. I don't know that we're getting that, though. So far, with including this pack, 4 packs left to go, I don't know that we're going to see that. But this pack is +1 again, another green. All right, +1. What do we have? In the +1, we start off with Riskar Prima Renegade. Riskar Prima Renegade enters the battlefield. Put a +1/+1 counter on each of up to 2 target creatures. Each creature you control with a counter on it has tap for green. We've already seen this. In fact, I think this is an identical pack. Invigorating Surge, Wildwood Scourge, Inspiring Call, Nession Horn Beetle, Truffle Snout. Yep, so far this is exactly the same. So I'm not going to go over this one again. You can check that out from earlier if you want to see all of these. But Hunter's Edge, Primalkin, Arbor Armament, Fertilid, Scrounging Brenner, and then the lands. So, yep, just same thing over again. So, I don't know. Just only 1 legendary in this pack. You don't get 2 with it. It's not a mythic. I guess this could be good if you grabbed both of these by some chance, but it's a little disappointing that, you know, I got an exact repeat there when there should be other things that are pullable. Better variety would be nice in these. I don't know. All right, down to 3 packs remaining, including this one we are opening now. Put that there. Got all those little pieces need to be thrown away. We have Archaeology. Oop, there's a new one. Blue Archaeology. So it looks like we have an artifact based one would be my guess with this one. Archaeology. So we have Scholar of the Lost Trove. 7 mana. Ooh boy. It's a lot for this. When Scholar of the Lost Trove enters the battlefield, you may cast target instant, sorcery, or artifact card from your graveyard without paying its mana cost. If an instant or sorcery spell cast this way would be put into the graveyard this turn, exile it instead. A Buried Rune. Add 1 generic, or for 2, tap, sacrifice Buried Rune, return target artifact card from your graveyard to your hand. Hedron Archive. Tap to add 2. Sacrifice Hedron Archive. Draw 2 cards. The Juggernaut. 4 mana. Juggernaut attacks each turn if able. Juggernaut can't be blocked by walls. Minotaur Golem. Or Meteor Golem. Let's say that one properly. Everyone knows what a Meteor Golem does. It's super expensive removal for a 3/3 creature. Thirst for Knowledge. Instant. Draw 3 cards, then discard 2 cards unless you discard an artifact card. So 3 mana, you could get 2 cards for sacking an artifact. Not bad, especially for this setup. Aether Spellbomb. For a blue, sacrifice Aether Spellbomb, return target creature to its owner's hand. One generic sacrifice Aether Spellbomb, draw a card. Alright, so dual use thing there. 2 removal or 2 for card draw. Ancestral Statue. When Ancestral Statue enters the battlefield, return a non-land permanent you control to its owner's hand. 3/4 for 4. Chromatic Sphere. Sacrifice Chromatic Sphere. Add 1 mana of any color. Draw a card for 1. Archimanther? I have no clue how to pronounce that one. Archimanther. Whatever. Okay. My wife wants to look at it and tell me how terrible I am at reading. Argumender, sure, why not? We got 2 of those. When Argumender enters the battlefield, return target artifact card from your graveyard to your hand for 3. It is a 2/3 that lets you get things back, so that's awesome. Erratic Visionary for 2, Human Wizard. Draw a card, then discard a card for the cost of 2 mana, a blue and a generic. And then Lightning Core Excavator. It's a 0/3 for 1, but it has for 5 mana sacrifice Lightning Core Excavator. It deals 3 damage to any target. And then we have our lands with the Thriving Isle as the specialty one for this. Plus we got 1 other land in here, so that's been kind of nice. We've overall I don't know that this is, well, it's expensive, but most of it is kind of low cost, but the low cost items are primarily not in things that you would want them to be. I don't know. Just again, we're looking at one of these. It's just going to be slow going overall with this. If you play this, you're going to have to expect it to be slow. And my puppy is sad. My wife went out for a walk and he's like, "Why didn't you take me with you?" It's okay, good boy. Give me just a second. I think I'm going to need to let him out. So, he doesn't... Okay, I'm coming, good boy. 1 second, ladies and gentlemen. Alright, we are back. I don't know what he wants because he just stood there and sniffed and wasn't willing to go outside, so he's just wanting attention. But we're almost done, so I'll give him all the attention he wants here in just a moment. Down to the final 2 packs. So, let's see what we get in the final 2. Where are we going to fall with this? Double check, yep, good there. And here we go. Where are we going to fall with the last 2? We have walls. Okay, walls it is. It's green. Green walls. I didn't realize that would be a thing in this, but sure, why not? Walls. My brother would be so disappointed if this is what he pulled. Okay. Towering Titan. He's just being a grumpy boy back there. Alright, Towering Titan. Towering Titan enters the battlefield with X+1/+1 counters on it, where X is the total toughness of other creatures you control. Sacrifice a creature with Defender. All creatures gain trample until end of turn. So 6 mana drop for a mythic there. And we got a legendary in here as well. Assault Formation Enchantment. Each creature you control assigns combat damage equal to its toughness rather than its power. Oh, that's good for this. Target creature with Defender can attack this turn as though it didn't have Defender. for a green, and then for 3 mana, a green, and 2 generic creatures you control get +0/+1 until end of turn. Oh, fun. Alright, Craven Caratrid. Spirit Defender. When Craven Caratrid enters the battlefield, draw a card, 2/5 for 3. Walls could be interesting because walls are typically pretty cheap. Alright. Gargoyle Sentinel. Defender. Until end of turn, Gargoyle Sentinel loses Defender and gains Flying for 3 mana to 3/3. Okay. 3/3 Defender, and with this ability, you don't need to worry about paying that 3 to use it. That's a nice build. Alright, Overgrown Battlement. Defender. Add 1 green for each creature with Defender you control. It's a 0/4 that you tap for 2. It only costs 2 to get out. Man. Wow, this is actually quite nice. Wall of Blossoms, we've seen this before. When Wall of Blossoms enter the battlefield, draw a card. Costs 2. Again, all low cost. You're kind of hoping that you get the Assault formation out, because that really is what's going to make or break this deck overall. Warmonger's Chariot. Equipped creature gets +2/+2. As long as equipped creature has Defender, it can attack as though it didn't have Defender. 3 to equip. Oh, that's not bad. So, there we go. Turns one of your walls into something that can attack. Portcullis Vine. Defender. For 2 generic. Tap to sacrifice a creature with Defender and draw a card, and it only costs 1 to bring out. Crushing Canopy again. Destroy target creature with Flying or destroy target enchantment. That isn't a lot of these, and this deck is going to struggle if someone uses that to get rid of the Assault formation. So keep an eye on that. You're gonna have a hard time winning with this if you end up in that situation. I guess whatever you mix it with will still be okay, but this part of the deck is going to struggle. Grave Bramble. For 3 mana, you get a Defender, protection from zombies. That's a 3/4. Man, I think this is probably overall, other than the blue mill would probably still beat this without any problems, but this is one of the faster ones, if not the fastest of all of these. Thriving Grove. Okay, there we go. We have 2 more. We have ourselves a Wall of Vines, Defender Reach 0/3 for a green, and Roving Keep, 7 mana, Defender. For 7 generic, Roving Keep gets +2/+0 and gains Trample until end of turn. It can attack this turn as though it didn't have Defender. Okay, so then it for 7 mana, it becomes a 7/7 that can attack. That's expensive. And then, yeah, just all the lands there, same as normal. So you can take a look at all of that. So pretty good. Overall, if you're playing, like, I don't know what the cards in this one are worth, but if you're just pulling things, this is definitely one of the fastest. It doesn't have a whole lot of ramp in it. It really only has this as ramp. But still, that's gonna, the fact that most of these only cost 1 to 3, with only a couple of big heavy hitters that are going to cost you more than that, not really necessary to have a ton more in there. So, boy, yeah, that's nice. And Towering Titan, once that actually comes out, if you get to that point, it's going to be a powerful card, given all the walls in here and how high you get that defense with everything. So, green doing it again. Still, blue mill is the best one so far that I've seen in this at all. I don't know what other people have pulled or seen, but that's where the big power is at with all this. All right, this is the final one, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see what we managed to pull from here. It is Minions in black. Okay, minions in black. What do we have in black minions? Starting off with Ghoul Caller Gissa. Ghoul Caller Gissa. She's 5 mana for a legendary. For 1 black, tap, sacrifice another creature. Create a X/2/2 black zombie creature tokens where X is the sacrificed creature's power. Ooh. That's a good way to go wide right there. Witch's Cauldron. Tap with 2 mana, a black and a generic. Sacrifice a creature, you gain 1 life and draw a card. Eliminate. Destroy target creature or planeswalker with converted mana cost of 3 or less. Ooh, we got ourselves a demon. Gourmand. Demon. As an additional cost to cast the spell, sacrifice a creature. It's a 5/5 flying for 6. Trample. When Gourmand enters the battlefield, each opponent sacrifices a creature. All right. Liliana's Devotee. We've seen him before. Zombies you control get +1/+0. So far, I haven't pulled a zombie, but there's probably more in here. At the beginning of your end step, if a creature died this turn, you may pay 2, a black and a generic. If you do, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token. So that's more why that's in there, is that sacrifice. Each player sacrifices a creature. Innocent Blood. Fetid Imp. Flying. Tap a black Fetid Imp. Gains Death Touch until end of turn. Dutiful Attendant. Human Warrior. When Dutiful Attendant dies, return another target creature from your graveyard to your hand for 3 mana. So far, this is looking to be pretty fast overall. Ghoul Caller's Accomplice. Exile Ghoul Caller's Accomplice for 4 mana, a black and 3 generic. From your graveyard, exile Ghoul Caller's Accomplice from your graveyard. Create a 2/2 black zombie creature token. Activate this ability only anytime you can cast a sorcery. Vampire Rogue. Nocturnal Feeder. Flying. When Nocturnal Feeder dies, each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. Shambling Goblin. When Shambling Goblin dies, target creature an opponent controls gets -1/-1 until end of turn. So black for a 1/1 that can give negatives for sacrificing it. Then Thriving Moor again, and then Village Rites. So for a black mana, as an additional cost to cast the spell, sacrifice a creature, then draw 2 cards. And then the basic land. So no Phyrexian in this one, but we got the big one that I was really hoping for. That is exciting. We have the Allosaurus Shepard. That one going into my elf deck. Sorry, friends. If you are watching this, you will not be able to pull and play that when we do Jumpstart. It's going to be tucked away nice and safe. But that's going to be it for today. If you like my videos, if you like seeing my stuff that I put out there, this is my first box opening. Probably going to be another one this weekend or next week. We'll see when it actually arrives. But I got the box for... Now, my brain stopped. The mystery booster box. So, I got a mystery booster box that's supposed to come in this weekend from my local gaming store. $100, so that's being reprinted just like Jumpstart is. I like hearing that these are getting back out there and be able to go in and pick that up, and we'll open that up. That one will probably go maybe a little bit faster. We'll see. That has a lot of rare cards in the common slots too, though, so we'll just have to find out how that one falls. But very excited about sitting down and playing this with my friends. But from what I've seen so far, the mill one is going to be the one that takes down its opponents the fastest. This one is good and quick too. A lot of low-cost creatures. And when you sacrifice your creatures, you're getting creatures in return for doing that. So we'll see. If this got pulled with the mill, I think that this one would probably win every time. I don't know that any of the other ones can really compete on that level.
But otherwise, I think this is a good product. It's got a lot of high value cards in it too. I kind of helped just pushing this box to be sold, but yeah. But that's going to be it. Remember, if you like these videos, click the follow button if you're here on Twitter. If you're watching this over on YouTube, make sure you click the subscribe button. Both of those, it's Gray Falcon, GRAY_Falcon. And follow me on Twitter as